Let me ask you something. Have you ever surprised yourself by surviving something you thought would break you? A loss, a betrayal, a hardship. And somehow, you didn't just survive. You endured. You kept going. You stood up again. You see, Stoicism teaches one profound truth. You are stronger than you think. Not because you've avoided pain, but because you've endured it with dignity. Welcome back to the Stoic Voice, where timeless wisdom meets everyday strength. This video is your reminder, your wake-up call, that even in your darkest moments, you are far more capable than your fear tells you. Let's explore how the Stoics defined courage, and how their ancient strength still lives in you today. When most people hear the word courage, they picture something loud. A warrior charging into battle, a firefighter running into flames, a hero shouting, "I'm not afraid." But the Stoics saw things differently. To them, courage isn't the absence of fear. It is doing what is right despite fear. It's quiet, it's consistent, it's choosing virtue over comfort, even when everything inside you screams to run. Epictetus once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." In other words, the obstacle is rarely external. It's how we see the challenge. Do we see difficulty as doom, or as an opportunity to grow stronger? The Stoics believed courage wasn't just for the battlefield, it was for the boardroom, the hospital bed, the heartbreak, the morning you don't want to get up but do anyway. Courage in Stoicism is the backbone of all virtue. Without it, you can't be wise. You can't be just. You can't be self-disciplined. Because all of those require the strength to resist fear, shame, or pain. Think about your own life. The time you spoke the truth even when it cost you. The time you walked away from something toxic even though it hurt. The time you started again after failing. That was courage. Not flashy, not loud, but real. Stoic courage is simple. Do what is right. Endure what you must, not because it's easy, but because it's worthy. And that's exactly what makes you stronger than you think. He was the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, but Marcus Aurelius lived a life filled with loss, betrayal, war, and disease. Still, through it all, he remained composed, thoughtful, and devoted to virtue. How? Because Marcus Aurelius practiced stoic courage. He didn't run from pain. He didn't numb himself with power or pleasure. Instead, he sat with his fears and wrote to himself in his journal, the now famous Meditations, not as an emperor, but as a flawed human seeking inner strength. If you are distressed by anything external, Marcus wrote, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That's not just philosophy. That's raw, personal resilience. His soldiers were demoralized. His own children passed away. During the Antonini Plague, millions died. And yet, Marcus rose each day and carried the burden of leadership. He didn't complain. He didn't collapse. He reminded himself that hardship is part of life, and that endurance with integrity is the true mark of strength. He lived by this line. What stands in the way becomes the way. The impediment to action advances action. Courage, for Marcus, was not heroic in the Hollywood sense. It was stoic, waking up, showing up, doing the right thing, even when it hurt, even when no one noticed. This is the kind of strength most people overlook, but it's the kind that builds unshakable men and women. So the next time your world feels out of control, remember Marcus Aurelius, and know that your ability to endure chaos with calm is a sign that you are already stronger than you think. Imagine being born a slave. Your body is not your own. Your choices are limited. Your future uncertain. And yet, you discover a freedom no one can take away from you. That was Epictetus. Born into slavery in the Roman Empire, he had every reason to be bitter, angry, or broken. His master was cruel. He lived with physical disability. Some say his leg was twisted or broken. Yet through all of it, Epictetus cultivated something invincible, inner strength. He discovered what many never do, that true power lies not in our circumstances, but in how we respond to them. Epictetus taught, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This wasn't theory. It was survival. And it became the core of Stoic courage. He taught that we must separate what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our values, from what we cannot, other people, the past, the future, and fate. Most people waste energy trying to control the uncontrollable, but Stoic courage is choosing to master yourself. Think about that. Epictetus had no political power, no wealth, no army, but through discipline, he became one of the most respected minds in Stoic philosophy. His courage wasn't loud. It was built in silence, through restraint, through humility, through clarity. He reminds us, you can be in pain and still be at peace. You can be oppressed and still be free in your mind. You can have nothing and still be stronger than anyone expects. So, if you feel powerless today, if life has pushed you to the edge, remember Epictetus. And remember this, your circumstances do not define your strength, your response does. Seneca was a brilliant philosopher, a statesman, and a tutor to emperors, but his life, anything but peaceful. He lived under the shadow of Nero, one of Rome's most dangerous emperors. He was exiled, betrayed, threatened with execution, and ultimately forced to take his own life. But through all of it, Seneca mastered one thing the Stoics valued most, his inner world. Seneca understood that life would always be uncertain, but who you become in the face of that uncertainty, that's where true power lies. A gin cannot be polished without friction, he wrote, nor a man perfected without trials. He wasn't preaching comfort. He was preaching clarity. Pain, fear, and loss are not punishments. They are invitations to grow. While others were ruled by their emotions, Seneca practiced calm. He meditated daily on death, reminding himself that nothing was truly his, not wealth, not power, not even time. And so he chose to live with urgency, grace, and self-control. He taught that courage begins in the mind, and instead respond with reason and purpose. When we stop letting our emotions run wild, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he said. And how true that is. Think of how often fear has paralyzed you, not because of what actually happened, but because of what your mind imagined might happen. Seneca challenges us to take our minds back, to master our emotions before they master us, to walk into the storm, grief, failure, betrayal, with calm eyes and steady breath. That's Stoic courage. Not the fight outside, but the peace inside. And if Seneca could find it in the heart of Rome's darkest court, so can you wherever you are, whatever you face. Courage isn't loud, it's daily discipline. When we think of courage, we often imagine a single, bold moment, a leap, a shout, a dramatic stand. But the Stoics saw something deeper, something quieter, something stronger. Courage, they said, is not one big act, it's a way of living. It's waking up and doing what you said you would do. It's keeping your principles when no one's watching. It's showing up over and over, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it hurts. First say to yourself what you would be, Epictetus advised, and then do what you have to do. That's courage. Not in moments of glory, but in daily discipline. It's easy to be brave once. Harder to be consistent. Harder to choose effort over excuses, self-control over comfort, and virtue over vanity every single day. But that's exactly where your strength is built. The Stoics believed that the battlefield of life is in the routine, choosing not to complain, saying no to distractions, controlling your temper when you could lash out, taking the harder path, not because it looks heroic, but because it's right. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations to impress anyone. He wrote them to keep himself grounded, to remind himself each morning of the man he wanted to be, and to hold himself to that standard, no matter what the world threw at him. That's Stoic courage. It whispers, not roars. But its strength builds over time, like stone against the wind. So, if you're tired, if you feel unnoticed, if you're wondering whether the small, right choices even matter, they do, because they shape you, and they prove every day that you are stronger than you think. How adversity reveals your strength. No one asked for hardship. No one prays for pain. But the Stoics knew something powerful. Adversity doesn't make you weak, it shows you how strong you already are. Think of iron. It's forged in fire. Not despite the heat, but because of it. Life works the same way. The obstacle is the way, wrote Marcus Aurelius. What stands in the way becomes the way. To the Stoics, challenges weren't roadblocks, they were teachers. Every hardship you face is an invitation to practice patience, to build endurance, to strengthen character. The world says, if life is hard, something's wrong, but Stoicism says, if life is hard, now you grow. Seneca once said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. He believed that fate chooses the strongest people for the toughest trials, not to break them, but to prove them. And you've lived this, haven't you? Think back to the heartbreak that didn't destroy you, the failure that didn't define you, the moment you wanted to give up, but didn't. That was adversity revealing your strength, until life demanded it. A quiet power you didn't even know you had. That's Stoic courage, not wishing for an easy life, but rising to meet the hard one with dignity. Every storm you've survived, every burden you've carried, they've carved something solid inside you. Why is this happening to me? So the next time you ask, shift the question. Ask instead, what strength is this moment trying to uncover in me? Because often, the battle isn't there to crush you. It's there to show you you're already stronger than you think. The Stoic view of fear and pain. Most people spend their lives running from fear, avoiding pain, seeking comfort. But the Stoics didn't run. They turned around, faced fear, stared pain in the eye, because they understood a truth that most people miss. Fear and pain are not the enemy, our reaction to them is. Seneca wrote, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Fear is rarely about what's happening now. It's about what might happen. It's a shadow, large, but empty. And yet, how many of us let that shadow rule our lives? The Stoics trained their minds to respond differently. Not to pretend pain wasn't real, but to strip it of its power. Epictetus said, it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. A broken bone is pain. But panic, that's a decision. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, those are thoughts, not facts. Stoicism teaches us to examine our fears, to ask, is this pain permanent? Is it unbearable? Or is it just uncomfortable? Most of the time, we realize we can bear far more than we thought. The Stoics even practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, wearing rough clothes, going without food, to remind themselves, I can survive with less. I can endure more than I imagined. I am not fragile. Fear shrinks when you stop running. Pain loses its sting when you accept it without complaint. This is Stoic courage, to feel pain and stay calm. To feel fear and act anyway. Because when you face these things directly, you discover something unshakable underneath. And that thing is you. Training yourself to be unshakable. Strength doesn't happen by accident. Courage isn't something you wish for, it's something you train. The Stoics didn't wait for a crisis to build resilience. They practiced it daily. Like warriors preparing for battle, mental toughness is a habit. Marcus Aurelius trained his mind with morning meditations. He reminded himself that people would be rude, events would be unpredictable, and death could come at any time, not to depress himself, but to prepare, so that nothing could shake his peace. Epictetus told his students, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." That's not passivity. It's power, the kind that comes from radical acceptance and inner control. You become unshakable by practicing the following voluntary hardship. Take cold showers, skip a meal, embrace discomfort. Show yourself that comfort doesn't control you. Negative visualization. Imagine losing what you love, not to create fear, but gratitude. And when loss comes, you'll be ready. Discipline over impulse. Don't chase every craving. Train your will like a muscle. Detach from outcomes. Do your duty. Let go of the results. Control what you can, release what you can't. Stoic courage is like armor. Every morning you polish it with mindset. Every evening you sharpen it with reflection. So when chaos comes, and it will, you don't flinch. You don't fall apart. Because you didn't build your peace on things outside you. You built it on who you chose to become. You don't become unshakable overnight. You become unshakable one decision at a time. You've already survived more than you realize. Take a moment. Breathe. Look back not with regret, but with awareness. Because if you're watching this, you've already survived more than you give yourself credit for. Think about it. The heartbreaks you thought would destroy you, but didn't. The failures that made you feel worthless, but taught you lessons you still carry. The nights you cried in silence, but still got up the next morning. The times you felt lost, broken, powerless. Yet here you are, breathing, standing, listening. You didn't just survive those moments. You endured them. You grew through them. And you became stronger because of them. The Stoics would say, look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig. Marcus Aurelius, your strength was never in the absence of struggle. It was in your refusal to quit. Epictetus reminded us that external things may be taken from us, health, money, even relationships. But the one thing no one can steal is how we choose to respond. And you've chosen again and again to keep moving forward, to keep growing, even if slowly, even if painfully. That's not weakness. That's Stoic courage in action. So stop telling yourself you're not strong. Stop believing the lie that you're broken or behind. Instead, realize this. You've already proven your strength just by surviving. And if you've come this far, you can go even further. Because the courage you need is the same courage that got you here. Practical ways to practice Stoic courage today. Courage isn't a distant ideal. It's not locked in ancient books or reserved for philosophers. It's something you can practice, starting today. The Stoics believed philosophy was meant to be lived. So let's make Stoic courage real and practical for your everyday life. 1. Start your day with reflection before the chaos begins. Take 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? How will I respond with virtue? Marcus Aurelius did this daily. So can you, too. Face one fear each week. Avoiding fear gives it power. Confronting it weakens it. Call that person. Speak up in the meeting. Set the boundary. Small acts of courage build unshakable strength. 3. Practice voluntary discomfort. Fast for a few hours. Take a cold shower. Leave your phone at home. Not to punish yourself, but to train your mind to be free from dependency. 4. Embrace the hard task first. Seneca taught that discipline is freedom. Do the thing you've been avoiding today. The more you act despite resistance, the more power you claim. 5. Journal honestly each night. What tested your courage today? Where did you stand firm? Where did you hesitate? No shame, just awareness. That's how you grow. 6. Detach from outcomes, do your best, then let go. You control your effort, not the result. This is the Stoics' calm in the storm. 7. Keep a courage quote visible, choose a line that speaks to your soul. Post it on your wall. Like, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Remember, courage isn't built in crisis. It's built in routine, in every choice to live by principle, not pressure. So start now. Start small, but start deliberately, because the moment you begin practicing Stoic courage is the moment you begin unlocking the truth. You are already stronger than you think. Conclusion: remember who you are, so here we are. After Marcus endured chaos, after Epictetus rose from chains, after Seneca mastered the storm within, you're left with one undeniable truth. You are already stronger than you think. Not because life has been easy, but because you faced things that tried to break you, and you're still here. Not because you've never felt fear, but because you kept moving forward anyway. Not because you're perfect, but because you've chosen to keep showing up with courage again and again. That's what the Stoics understood. Strength isn't loud, it's not applause, it's quiet, daily, disciplined, intentional, and it already lives inside you. So when the pressure mounts, when the future feels uncertain, when the pain comes, don't panic, don't fold, don't forget. Remember who you are. Remember what you've already survived. Remember the power of your choices. Remember that courage, real Stoic courage, is not about winning, it's about staying grounded. No matter what, you don't need to wait to feel strong. You simply need to act with strength, one choice, one breath, one moment at a time. This is the Stoic Voice, reminding you that the ancient wisdom of the past still lives today in you. Now go live it.